This doesn't seem right.
It's been that low.
Really?
Yeah, because you,
Do I slouch? I get comfy.
sink into the corner over there.
I guess I usually don't sit up straight.
So if the volume seems good for you, it might seem a little louder, might seem a little quieter. I don't know, but you can adjust
Hello?
it.
Hello?
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 Hello? Hello?
Hello? I think that's fine.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello? I don't even know
Wait.
how we're supposed to...
Oh, wait. Zoo-wee mama. Do you remember what that's from?
Is that from Futurama?
Oh, hang on. Let me pull it up.
I'm wrong.
My little sister was super into this. It's just, oh, God, it was a book. What was it called?
Diary of a something?
Yeah, Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, his, like, chubby best friend says that.
I never watched that show.
And it's a movie, I don't know. My little sister was very
Oh, it's
into
a movie.
it. Yeah, they made it into, like, I think there's 2. I don't remember, really. Well, you look nice today.
Thanks. I like your shirt.
I was going to ask if you liked my cat shirt.
I love your cat shirt.
Thanks.
Where can I get one?
It's a girl's shirt.
So? Shirt for girls. No shirts for gendered. T-shirts.
It's a lady's shirt.
Graphic T-shirts.
No, it's true. I wear men's shirts all the time.
Where'd you get it?
Shein, Shein.
Is it online?
Yeah.
Oh.
Your face dropped
An
so much just now.
An online store.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Well, this is, we're doing a bonus episode. We're recording this one by itself. So we didn't do an episode before this. This is like a standalone thing. And instead of a beer, we're doing a topic this week. And we decided to do an episode on rabies. I didn't really, at first, know how we would do this episode. I felt like this was kind of one of the more difficult ones that, like, it'd be more difficult to find a story for. Mm-hmm. There are cases of people having rabies, and obviously animals get rabies a lot. But there wouldn't be a very substantial story section. I think most of it would just be background. Mm-hmm. So we decided to make this a bonus episode, which means no beer. And we're not doing background story switching off. We each decided to do, one of us is going to talk about rabies as it affects animals, and the other person will talk about rabies as it affects humans. This is a pretty crazy ass virus.
Seems a little dark.
Yeah, the whole episode is going to be pretty dark. So we don't have a beer picked out for this episode, but that doesn't mean we're not going to drink beer. So I'm going to grab beer.
Thank God. I was worried.
We won't go into the beer, talk about it really much at all. This is Summer Fling by Ludington Bay Brewing Company. This is my favorite beer.
She's foamy. My goodness. Excuse me, ma'am. You want some beer, Casoda?
Summer Fling is a Hefeweizen, which I don't know if we've had on the show before. I think we've talked about Hefeweizen. Bananas and cloves, usually pretty forward in the beer, but I bought this 6-pack the last time I was out in Michigan. Ludington Bay Brewing Company, to shout out. It's my favorite brewery also. I love their food, and I love taking their beer home. So...
Yeah, chip in that glass.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, good beer.
Right?
Just plain pleasant.
It's perfect. It's much better on tap, too. If you ever get a chance to go to Ludington, Michigan.
Well, Jack and I wanted to go with you.
When?
I don't know. We wanted to have a day, a trip with you to go.
We should do that. Yeah, we should plan that. Don't let me forget. I'm 100% serious. We should plan that. Don't let me forget.
Okay.
Because I'm going to forget. Also, it's your birthday in 2 days.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're going to be 26.
Yes, I am.
I have presents for you. Do you want to open them right now? You should open them.
Okay. Oh, okay. Hello, boxes. Okay. Hi. Casoda. Why did you get me presents?
It's their birthday.
I love you, but you're too much. Spotted Dog Company.
I had no idea what to get you, and then it came to me.
Oh. It is very bubbly wrapped. Ooh. Can never forget. I love you so much. Oh my god, you're so perfect. Oh my god, I'm so happy right now. You can't forget a butt chin.
Never forget a butt chin.
Oh
That's an
my
exact quote.
This is so cool.
You got 2 more of those.
Oh my god, I am so happy with just the one. I don't know if I can open the other 2. I don't know if I can handle that.
They're pretty great.
If you have over longer than 4 hours, consult your doctor. I love you so much. You're so ridiculous. This was very unexpected, and now I'm mad but happy. Damn you.
That's me opening birthday presents, too.
I'm upsetty spaghetti.
So these are Paige's opening pint glasses, and they have engravings on them. And 2 of them so far have been quotes from her, from the show. And there's a third one.
Oh, it's good.
It's good.
Oh my god.
Now you have Beer and Fear themed pint glasses.
I'm gonna hand wash these so they never
Yes.
fade. Oh
Yeah.
my god, I'm so happy right now.
You're welcome.
I love you so much.
I love you too. I'm glad you like
going
them.
to give you the biggest hug later. This makes me so happy. These are amazing.
Right? They're really cool. I got them on Etsy.
Oh my god.
Spotted Dog Company.
That's so cool. They gave
They got business cards in there.
every single one.
It's a cool company. I ordered them 3 days later. They were at my door.
That's crazy.
So shipping was super
I
quick.
wonder if they're close.
I think it was like Colorado or something. I don't know. But there's a lot of different engraving options, different fonts you can use.
I wonder how they did it.
Super cool. I don't know. They probably got some big ass machine. They just stick the pint glasses there and
Yeah, this is so cool.
they make them to order.
I love the font. It's so
Right?
fancy.
Right?
Oh my god, it's good.
It's good. So, well, I guess you
I am
probably should have opened those. You could
so
have
happy
had one.
right
Hey, wash them first. before you
It's
drink your beer.
fine. I'm so happy right now. I am so happy right now.
So your first 3 pint glasses for your new place,
This is the first 3 pint glasses I've ever owned in my life.
and they're Beer and Fear themed. It's our first official merch, I guess.
Yeah.
you could call it. So happy birthday, Paige. 26. Woo!
Woo-woo!
I was asking you what you were doing because I wanted to do something. I want to like take you out somewhere, but pint glasses and Five Guys.
That makes me happy.
All right.
I'm happy with what I've got. This is so cool.
Right? Aren't they cool? So I decided to do. We each got to pick what we wanted to do. I did rabies on animals, so this is going to be a little. I mean, if you like animals, who doesn't like animals?
Weirdos.
It's going to be a little sad, but it is very interesting. It does go into some of the science and tips and things you should know about rabies and animals. I do have some videos to go along with some of these. Again, they're not great videos. It's animals with rabies. What do you expect? But we'll post them on our website as well under this video link, so you can watch them if you want. Some of them are interesting. Scott sent me.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually the one who recommended we do rabies.
You
sent
recommended
me,
it forever ago.
Yeah, Scott recommended it a long time ago, and he sent me a couple of videos of humans with rabies, and he sent a Reddit thing, which you should read.
I did.
No, you should read on the.
Oh, you want me
when
to
you
read
do
it
the
on
section.
here? Yeah, I will. It's interesting.
And then I don't know if you have any supplementary media to go along with your section, but we'll post
like videos or anything? No, nothing like that. I didn't want to look into those because it just seems so...
They're crazy.
Yeah, that's why I could totally understand how people would associate rabies with zombies.
Oh yeah, yep. We'll post the ones that Scott sent, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can search up on your own. But We'll get into it. Rabies. But rabies is a viral, zoonotic, neuroinvasive disease, which causes inflammation in the brain and is usually fatal. So there's three parts to that: viral, zoonotic, and neuroinvasive. So viral, the rabies virus is called rabies lysovirus. It causes rabies in both humans and animals. It can be transmitted by saliva and quickly spreads to other organs. Zoonosis is a disease caused by a pathogen that has jumped from an animal to a human. Mm-hmm. So other zoonoses include Ebola, West Nile, anthrax, smallpox, TB, Lyme disease, and HIV. Those are all zoonoses. And it's neuroinvasive. So neuroinvasive means any pathogen capable of infecting the nerve cells. It travels along the nervous system and decreases the immune response of the host. It's a pretty gnarly virus.
You're gnarly.
Aw. Animals with rabies suffer deterioration of the brain and tend to behave bizarrely and often aggressively, increasing the chances that they will bite another animal or person and transmit the disease. Mm-hmm. There are 3 stages of the disease recognized in dogs and other animals. The first stage is a 1 to 3 day period characterized by behavioral changes and is known as the prodromal stage. Oh. Prodromal. A prodrome is an early sign or symptom that often indicates the onset of a certain disease. It's not specific to rabies. You can have prodromes for anything. Generally, the first initial symptoms or signs that might indicate what you're sick with. It's like a prodrome for the flu is a fever, or a high temp, whatever. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The second stage is the excitative stage, which lasts 3 to 4 days. It is this stage that is often known as furious rabies due to the tendency of the affected animal to be hyperreactive to external stimuli and bite at anything near. The third stage is the paralytic or dumb stage and is caused by damage to motor neurons. Incoordination is seen due to rear limb paralysis, and drooling and difficulty swallowing is caused by paralysis of facial and throat muscles. Salivary glands receive high concentrations of the virus, further increasing transmissibility via saliva from bites. Death is usually caused by respiratory arrest. We'll go into the animals that can contract rabies. There's quite a few of them. It's a little scary. Mostly mammals. I fucking love this beer. I saw something that birds can get rabies. Certain kinds of birds. I didn't look into that any further. I probably should have, but I didn't know that. These are all mammals. Cats can get rabies. In the U.S., domestic cats are the most commonly reported rabid animal. As of 2008, between 200 and 300 cases are reported annually. In 2017, 276 cats with rabies were reported. As of 2010, in every year since 1990, reported cases of rabies in cats outnumbered cases of rabies in dogs. Cats that have not been vaccinated and are allowed access to the outdoors have the most risk, as they may come in contact with rabid animals. Symptoms have a rapid onset and can include unusual aggression, restlessness, lethargy, anorexia, weakness, disorientation, paralysis, and seizures.
You say lethargy?
Lethargy.
I say lethargy.
Lethargy. Well, there's lethargic, and then there's lethargy.
I say lethargic.
Oh. Yeah, lethargic.
Or lethargy.
Yeah, I don't think it's lethargy.
Oh.
The Bastille song?
Yeah.
Lethargy. That's the only reason I know how to pronounce it.
Lethargy.
Lethargy. It's being lazy.
The more you know.
Yep. Vaccination of felines, including boosters by a veterinarian, is recommended to prevent rabies infection in outdoor cats. This is a video of a cat with rabies.
I don't want to see this.
It does still meow, but it does initially look like it's playing, but it is also, it just shows some aggressive tendencies. It's biting at Glove. It's kind of cowering back in fear. Very aggressive bites. Later on in the video, you can see it does have some motor dysfunction. Kind of very
this
wobbly.
Makes me sad.
I warned you.
I told you I was sad.
I warned you at the top. Motor dysfunction is just hard time getting around. But it meows like a normal cat, which is I found to be interesting.
I don't want to hear it meow.
Yeah, it's a little sad. Dogs can get rabies.
Yep.
Rabies is usually often someone says rabies, they think of rabid dogs. So, rabies has a long history of association with dogs. The first written record of rabies is in the Codex of Eshuna, circa 1930 BC, which dictates that the owner of a dog showing symptoms of rabies should take preventative measures against bites. If a person was bitten by a rabid dog and later died, the owner was fined heavily.
Oh.
Almost all of the human deaths attributed to rabies are due to rabies transmitted by dogs in countries where dog vaccination programs are not sufficiently developed to stop the spread of the virus. Mm-hmm. This is a dog on the dumb form of rabies. Its mouth just kind of hangs open. Paralysis of the mouth and the jaw. Also very aggressive. So this person, he's not trying to be mean to the dog or anything like that. He is just trying to provoke it a little bit, just so you can see this is an informative video of what a dog on rabies looks like. He not only lashes out at the pole that the person has, but he lashes out at stuff on the ground. Just aggressive behavior. Again, the jaw is just staying open, so his mouth stays wide open.
I'm sad and I don't like it.
Yep. Bats can get rabies. Bat-transmitted rabies occurs throughout North and South America, pretty much in all states here.
Dude, when I lived in Tennessee, this is just a random story I was going to tell you. I was like middle school age, so I was swimming with my sister Madison at night. I think Jessica was there too, and a bat flew around. I was like, holy fucking shit, this is my first experience with a bat.
Yeah.
So we like freaked out and hid under some inner tubes.
I can't recall when or if I've seen a bat. I think I've seen a bat before, but it was probably very far away, and I could have mistaken it for a bird. There are bats around here in St. Charles. People have taken videos of bats hanging around. So pretty much all the 50 states here in North America, you can encounter bats. Rabies in bats was studied heavily in Trinidad and the West Indies. In 1953, it was demonstrated that at least 8 species of bats in Trinidad had been infected with rabies. Per the CDC, in all instances of potential human exposure involving bats, the bat in question should be safely collected if possible and submitted for rabies diagnosis. Rabies post-exposure prophylaxis is recommended for all persons with a bite, scratch, or mucous membrane exposure to a bat unless the bat is available for testing and is negative for evidence of rabies. Basically, if you get bit by a bat, go to the doctor. Because bats, probably the number one carrier of rabies. Not all bats have rabies, but if you get a bite or a scratch from a bat, go to the doctor. Horses can get rabies. Rabies can be contracted in horses if they interact with rabid animals in their pasture, usually through being bitten. Signs include aggression, incoordination, head pressing, circling, lameness, muscle tremors, convulsions, colic, and fever. Incubation of the virus may range from 2 to 9 weeks. Death often occurs within 4 to 5 days of infection of the virus. And some mammals can, like moose, they can contract rabies, and sometimes it can lay dormant for like a year, not have any symptoms, be asymptomatic for an entire year, and then suddenly die. It does affect certain mammals quicker than others. Veterinarians recommend an initial vaccination as a full at 3 months of age, repeated at 1 year, and given an annual booster. This is a horse with rabies. A lot of sad animal videos. I warned y'all, okay?
You're depressing me.
So it does the arm thing. It's biting at the wall. Motor skills are a little whack. Able to stand up still, but probably not able to get around very well. Hey, I don't like watching these videos either, but they were interesting. Cows can get rabies. Fenced-in cows, along with horses, often become a primary target for bats carrying the rabies virus. Researchers have calculated that over 500 cattle per year die of bat-transmitted rabies in Latin America. Vampire bats have been extinct in the U.S. for thousands of years, a situation that actually may reverse due to climate change as the range of vampire bats in northern Mexico has recently began creeping northwind with warmer weather. Thus, U.S. cattle are not currently susceptible to rabies from this vector. Not a threat yet, but it could be. However, cases of rabies in dairy cows in the U.S. has occurred, perhaps transmitted by bites from canines, leading to concerns that humans consuming unpasteurized dairy products from these cows could be exposed to the virus. Vaccination programs in Latin America have been effective at protecting cattle from rabies, along with other approaches such as the culling of vampire bat populations.
I love bats.
Bats are cute. Bats are adorable, except when they have rabies.
Why are you doing this to me?
This is a cow with rabies. They have a chicken on a rope. And I think they're trying to instigate the cow. Again, just solely informative. But the cow definitely shows aggressive tendencies, and you can see it is foaming quite a bit at the mouth. Wolves can get rabies. Under normal circumstances, wild wolves are generally timid around humans, though there are several reported circumstances in which wolves have been recorded to act aggressively towards humans. The majority of fatal wolf attacks have historically involved rabies, which was first recorded in wolves in the 13th century. Though wolves are not reservoirs for the disease, they can catch it from other species. Wolves develop an exceptionally severe aggressive state when infected and can bite numerous people in a single attack. Today, wolf bites can be treated, but the severity of certain attacks can sometimes result in outright death. So depending if you get bit in the head or the neck, it's going to kill you. But if you get bit in the arm or a leg or something like that, and if it's not severe enough and you can get away from the wolf, go to the doctor. It can be treated. Mm-hmm. Rabies attacks tend to cluster in winter and spring. Fewer attacks have been reported in Europe and North America, while some still occur annually in the Middle East. And rabid attacks can be distinguished from predatory attacks by the fact that rabid wolves limit themselves to biting their victims rather than consuming them. This is actually, it says it's a wolf. I don't think it's a wolf. It looks more like a coyote. It's actually eating an oral rabies vaccine. So it finds this little food piece on the ground. It picks it up. It runs away with it and it eats it. And it's a vaccine for rabies. I think that's pretty neat. Came across that. Skunks can be infected. When cases are reported of pet skunks biting a human, the animals are frequently killed in order to be tested for rabies. It has been reported that 3 different variants of rabies exist in striped skunks in the North and South Central states. If bitten, it is important to determine whether the animal has rabies as quickly as possible. Some people keep skunks for pets. Mm-hmm. So if you get bit by a skunk, we'll go into this later. If you know it's fine, just contain it. But if you're not sure, go to the doctor. You need to determine whether that's
This is going to be a really long bonus episode.
It'll be longer. Yeah, typically longer. This is a rabid skunk. They kind of act like rabbits and other small mammals, mm-hmm. in which case, motor function is very deteriorated. They have a hard time walking and moving. They tend to flip around a little bit. Obviously, if you see a skunk like that or any other mammal out in the wild that's doing...
Anyone who's freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, it's doing freaky flips like that. Not only leave them alone, but call animal control. Call 911 if you need to. But if you have a local animal control number, call animal control. Let them know. Rabbits, despite natural infection to rabbits being rare, they are particularly vulnerable to the rabies virus. The virus is often contracted when attacked by other rabid animals and can incubate with a rabbit for up to 2 to 3 weeks. Symptoms include weakness in limbs, head tremors, low appetite, nasal discharge, and death within 3 to 4 days. Monkeys can get rabies, just like humans. However, they do not tend to be a common source of rabies. Monkeys with rabies tend to die more quickly than humans, and in one study, 9 of 10 monkeys developed severe symptoms or died within 20 days of infection. Other mammals, including raccoons, foxes, and coyotes, can be found to carry rabies, and any bites by such animals must be considered a possible exposure per the CDC. Most cases of rabies in rodents reported to the CDC in the U.S. have been found among groundhogs. So groundhogs are the most popular rodent to show exposure to rabies. Small rodents such as squirrels, hamsters, guinea pigs, gerbils, chipmunks, rats, and mice are almost never found to be infected with rabies and are not known to transmit rabies to humans. Per the CDC, if you were bitten by a domestic animal that appeared healthy at the time you were bitten, it can be confined by its owner for 10 days and observed. No anti-rabies prophylaxis is needed. No persons in the U.S. have ever contracted rabies from a dog, cat, or ferret held in quarantine for 10 days. Basically saying, if it was healthy at the time and you quarantine it for 10 days and it's healthy, there hasn't been any cases of people getting rabies if those are the case. If a domestic animal appeared ill at the time it bit you or becomes ill during the 10-day quarantine, it should be evaluated by a veterinarian for signs of rabies, and you should seek medical advice about the need for anti-rabies prophylaxis. Rabies is endemic to many parts of the world, and one of the reasons given for quarantine periods in international animal transport has been to try to keep the disease out of uninfected regions. Such countries may limit movement to animals from countries where rabies is considered to be under control in pet animals, and different countries have different lists of such animals. So this is a sign somewhere in the EU, I believe. It says rabies prevention, no animals from abroad may be landed. So they don't want animals from other countries. There's a map about rabies. Pretty much the entirety of Europe is rabies-free. There's a lot of other countries that are completely rabies-free. They don't have any animals that have rabies. They don't have rabies in their country. So definitely when animals come over, they want to control that population as much as they can. They probably quarantine the animals, make sure they're okay, and then they're good to go. The U.S. is not one of those countries. We have a lot of animals here in the U.S. that still contract rabies. This is a map of the U.S. that shows what certain type of animals are endemic to what parts of the country, certain states. So you can see for bats, it's pretty much the entire country except Hawaii. And then skunks is pretty much the central U.S., everything east of the Rocky Mountains, but west of the Midwest. I guess this is still technically the Midwest. Kind of the Midwest, north and south, all the way from North Dakota to Texas. Raccoons, some locations in Texas. Foxes, showing in Arizona and Alaska. Fox and skunk. Actually, raccoons is all here on the East Coast. Fox and skunk in parts of Arizona and New Mexico. And then mongoose in in Puerto Rico. Apparently, mongooses can get rabies. But the entire country, bats can get it. There are a couple graphs that show since 1938 up to 2017 the amount of animal cases and how domestic animal cases have sharply decreased and have been pretty much minimal, close to none, since about the year 1963. However, wild animals have definitely spiked up. They are more than domestic animal cases, obviously. And then this graph goes into specifics about what kind of animals. They're all pretty much level with each other for the most part. Bats and raccoons tend to be the highest. Skunks are just underneath them. Foxes are underneath that. And it shows the trend of those animals per year since 1967, which is pretty interesting too. All these pictures will be...
Who is the brown one?
This brown one?
No. Is that brown?
This is brown.
Are you sure? Then is that red? The one that has the huge spike.
That's raccoons.
Okay.
Yeah, raccoons spiked up in, what is that, like 1993. There was a huge spike in rabbit animal cases.
There was a spike in raccoons.
Yeah, spike in raccoons. These images will be available on our website. That's all I got.
That was wild. Where's the food?
It said 9 o'clock.
Oh, it did? Oh.
But it also said they were delivering early, so maybe they dropped it off already? Count orders. Completed. Your order. Delivered.
Oh, hey. Rabies in people, dude, is fucked up.
It is fucked up.
Basically, as soon as you start showing symptoms for it, you're dead.
Yep.
Like, that is literally it. So symptoms for it are fever, headache, nausea, vomiting, agitation, anxiety, confusion, hyperactivity, difficulty swallowing, excessive salivation, fear brought on by attempts to drink fluids because of difficulty swallowing water, which can lead to vomiting, hallucinations, insomnia, and partial paralysis.
What's that? Was it hydrophobia or something?
Hydrophobia.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can develop hydrophobia from contracting rabies because you basically are training yourself to be scared to vomit.
It's just awful. Like, you want to drink and you can't.
So about approximately 5,000 animal cases are reported annually to the CDC, and more than 90% of those occur in wildlife. While there's about comparatively, so the number of rabies-related human deaths in the United States declined during the 20th century. So from more than 100 annually in the early 1900s to just 1 or 2 per year since 1960.
Yeah, very rare.
So after a bite or other rabies exposure, the virus has to travel through the body to the brain before it can cause symptoms. This time between the exposure and the experience of symptoms is called the incubation period, and it can last anywhere from weeks to months to years. Did you go over the incubation period? I don't remember.
I talked all about animals.
Okay.
So anything that has to do with humans is all you.
Okay, I'm just making sure. So the incubation period may vary based on the location of the exposure site, basically how far away it is from the brain, the type of rabies virus, and any existing immunity. The first symptoms of rabies may be very similar to those of the flu, including general weakness or discomfort, fever, or headache, and these symptoms can last days. There may also be discomfort or a prickling or itching sensation at the site of the bite, progressing within days to acute symptoms of cerebral dysfunction, anxiety, confusion, and agitation. As the disease progresses, the person may experience delirium, abnormal behavior, hallucinations, hydrophobia, and insomnia. The acute period of disease typically ends after 2 to 10 days, which what a window. Once clinical signs of rabies appear, the disease is nearly always fatal, and treatment is typically supportive. To date, less than 20 cases of human survival from clinical rabies have been documented, and only a few survivors had no history of pre- or post-exposure prophylaxis. The signs and symptoms and outcome of rabies in humans is varied, but are often similar to those in animals, including early nonspecific symptoms, acute neurologic symptoms, and ultimately death. So once a rabies infection is established, there's no effective treatment. Very small number of people have survived rabies. The disease usually causes death, like I said. For that reason, if you think you've been exposed to rabies, you must get a series of shots to prevent the infection from taking hold.
I wonder how the people who've survived, like, I wonder what their quality of life is. Like, are there any lingering things that still persist? Like, do you just have a general weakened immune system for the rest of your life? Or, like, do you deal with post-symptoms or anything like that? Or does it just completely clear up? Or it's interesting. Being some of the very few people to survive rabies. Yeah, if you think you might have it because of something, go get treatment for it. Because if you don't, you're pretty much dead.
If you've been bitten by an animal that is known to have rabies, you'll receive a series of shots to prevent the rabies virus from infecting you. If the animal that bit you can't be found, it may be safest to assume that the animal has rabies, but this will depend on several factors, such as the type of animal and the situation in which the bite occurred. Rabies shots include a fast-acting shot, rabies immune globulin, to prevent the rabies virus from infecting you. Part of this injection is given near the area where the animal bit you, if possible, as soon as possible after the bite. And then a series of rabies vaccinations to help your body learn to identify and fight the rabies virus. Rabies vaccinations are given as injections in your arms. You receive 4 injections over 14 days. So there is a link that Scott sent to Zachary, and it is attached to a picture of a raccoon, a video of a raccoon on Reddit.
Oh, yeah. I forgot it was the raccoon video.
So it's a raccoon video, and it's a person feeding raccoons, and then a raccoon, and then it pans up, and there's a bunch of eyes of raccoons in the night.
I think the point of this comment, too, was to warn the person or anyone who would like to feed raccoons. I think that's why this was posted. I didn't understand the context at first, but...
So the comment is from Zeri Masterpiece, and it's spelled Peac. It's a very long comment, and it basically says, should I read the whole thing?
You should read the whole thing.
Okay, I'll read the whole thing.
Rabies in humans.
Rabies. It's exceptionally common, but people just don't run into the animals that carry it often. Skunks especially, and bats. Let me paint you a picture. You go camping, and at midday you decide to take a nap in a nice little hammock. While sleeping, a tiny brown bat in the rage stages of infection is fidgeting in broad daylight, uncomfortable and thirsty due to the hydrophobia. and you snort, startling him. He goes into attack mode. Except you're asleep and he's a little brown bat. So he weighs around 6 grams. You don't even feel him land on your bare knee, and he starts to bite. His teeth are tiny, hardly enough to break the skin, but he does manage to give you the equivalent of a tiny scrape that goes completely unnoticed. Rabies does not travel in your blood. In fact, a blood test won't even tell you if you've got it. Antibody tests may be done, but are useless if you've ever been vaccinated. You wake up none the wiser. If you notice anything at the bite site at all, you assume you just lightly scraped it on something. Mm-hmm. The bomb has been lit, and your nervous system is the wick. The rabies will multiply along your nervous system, doing virtually no damage and completely undetectable. You literally have no symptoms. It may be 4 days, it may be a year, but the camping trip is most likely for long forgotten. Then one day your back starts to ache, or maybe you get a slight headache. At this point, you're already dead. There is no cure. The sole caveat to this is the Milwaukee Protocol, which leaves most patients dead anyway, and the survivors mentally disabled and is seldom done. There are more notes below. There's no treatment. It has a 100% kill rate. Absorb that. Not a single other virus on the planet has a 100% kill rate. Only rabies. And once you're symptomatic, it's over. You're dead. So what does that look like? Your headache turns into a fever and a general feeling of being unwell. You're fidgety, uncomfortable, and scared, as the virus that has taken its time getting into your brain finds a vast network of nerve endings. It begins to rapidly reproduce, starting at the base of your brain, where your pons is located. This is the part of the brain that controls communication between the rest of the brain and body, as well as sleep cycles. Next, you become anxious. You still think you only have a mild fever, but suddenly you find yourself becoming scared, even horrified. And it doesn't occur to you that you don't know why. This is because the rabies is chewing up your amygdala. As your cerebellum becomes hot with the virus, you begin to lose muscle coordination and balance. You think maybe it's a good idea to go to the doctor now. But assuming a doctor is smart enough to even run the tests necessary in the few days you have left on the planet, odds are they'll only be able to tell your loved ones what you died of later. You're twitchy, shaky, and scared. You have the normal fear of not knowing what's going on, but with the virus really fucking the amygdala, this is amplified 100-fold. It's around this time the hydrophobia starts. You're horribly thirsty, you just want water, but you can't drink. Every time you do, your throat clamps shut and you vomit. This has become a legitimate active fear of water. You're thirsty, but looking at a glass of water begins to make you gag and shy back in fear. The contradiction is hard for your hot brain to see at this point. By now, the doctors will have to put you on IVs to keep you hydrated, but even that's futile. You were dead the second you had a headache. You begin hearing things or not hearing at all as your thalamus goes. You taste sounds, you see smells. Everything starts to feel like the most horrifying acid trip anyone has ever been on. With your hippocampus long under attack, you're having trouble remembering things, especially family. You're alone, hallucinating, thirsty, confused, and absolutely, undeniably terrified. Everything scares the literal shit out of you at this point. These strange people in lab coats, these strange people standing around your bed crying who keep trying to get you to drink something and crying. And it's only been about a week since that little headache that you've completely forgotten. Time means nothing to you anymore. Funny enough, you now know how the bat felt when he bit you. Eventually, you slip into the dumb rabies phase. Your brain has started the process of shutting down. Too much of it has been turned into liquid virus. Your face droops, you drool, you're all but unaware of what's around you. A sudden noise or light might startle you, but for the most part, it's all you can do to just stare at the ground. You haven't really slept for about 72 hours. Then you die. Always you die. And there's not one fucking thing anyone can do for you. Then there's the question of what to do with your corpse. I mean, sure, burying it is the right thing to do, but the fucking virus can survive in a corpse for years. You could kill every rabid animal on the planet today, and if 2 years from now some moist, preserved, rotten hunk of used-to-be brain gets eaten by an animal, it starts all over. So yeah, rabies scares the shit out of me. And it's fucking everywhere.
That's how it ends?
That is how it ends. There's more, but it's long.
Damn.
Put that in perspective for you.
Yeah, it's the worst when you don't even know, you got bit or scratched or whatever by an animal. But definitely you can't be too safe. Never be too safe if you were bit by wildlife or something. Is that all your section?
Yeah, that's done.
There are, like I said, a couple of videos that will include some really old medical studies that were done on patients who had rabies. They're pretty difficult to watch. It's pretty insane, just looking at how a virus can affect someone. You think it's bad in animals, but when you watch a human with rabies and how they progress, it's pretty gnarly. But there'll be a video or two on the website if you do care to watch it, because it is also interesting. I'm just looking through too. There was the vaccine for rabies was invented in 1885, and as long as you're given treatment within 10 days, like after exposure, it is 100% effective if given early. But if you wait just a little bit too long, then there's no point. 15 million people get vaccinated every year after potential exposure. There was a here's the rabies free. It's tiny, but you can see like Europe and Australia.
Oh, yeah.
The last case of rabies in the United States, I mentioned in last episode, or the episode that we just recorded last about the bubonic plague. I confused something with rabies. I think it was someone in, was it Utah? Utah man dies from rabies, the first in the state since 1944. Widow says she and her husband didn't realize bats at their home were carriers of highly contagious virus. He was 55, struggled for weeks with a slowly progressing disease that doctors couldn't stop from infecting his brain and other organs. Doctors say couldn't stop? I don't know. This article sucks.
This article sucks.
It said the bats never hurt us, and we were always catching them in our hands and releasing them outside, because you hear all the time about how bats are good for the insect population and you don't want to hurt them. They would lick our fingers almost like they could taste the saltiness of our fingers, but they never bit us. First had neck and back pain, went to the local ER. He was sent home with steroids, other pain management treatment for a potential pulled muscle. But that turned into numbness and tingling and eventually wheezing. Called 911, he was taken by ambulance to another local ER. He was again transported to Utah Valley Hospital and taken to the intensive care unit, where he died.
Oh, that's sad.
That was in 2018. I had no clue. We would wake up in the night and they'd be walking on our bed. They just let these bats just kind of hang out in their house and around their house.
That's kind of weird.
But that was, back in 2018 in Utah. First death of rabies in the U.S. since 1944. That is,
Okay.
That is this, okay. That is this bonus episode. It's like you either want to get home or you're just done.
I'm sleepy.
Oh, sleepy.
I'm sleepy. Also, I really want to pet this cat. Hello.